Hello beautiful people, and welcome to part 9 of this astrology course. Today we're going to look at Jupiter and Saturn. So in a moment the video will pause and you will see the images of Jupiter and Saturn, and maybe you'd like to take a screenshot of them if they're not familiar to you. So one thing that you may have noticed is that in a way the symbols are quite similar. They both have a cross shape in them, except in Jupiter it's on the horizontal and in Saturn it's on the vertical. And they both have what we call a crescent shape in them. So with Jupiter it goes that way as you're looking at it, as you're looking at my finger. And with Saturn, it goes that way as you're looking at my finger. Now, all the planets have their own glyph, and the parts of the glyph they mean something. So a circle represents spirit. So you see that in the Sun, Mercury, and Venus, and Mars. And then the crescent represents the mind, so you see that in Mercury, and now here in Jupiter and in Saturn. And the cross represents the physical world, so you see that in Mercury and in Venus and in Jupiter and in Saturn. And the arrow that we see in Mars is about action or direction, traditionally. So, and the way that the bits are placed is important as well. So in Jupiter we have the crescent above the cross, and in Saturn we have the cross above the crescent. Okay, so in Saturn we have the physicality above the mind, and in Jupiter we have the mind above the physicality. And you'll see how this sort of starts to come out as you see how these two planets work together and yet have seemingly such different energy. And it's really interesting how many people have got Saturn and Jupiter working together in their charts. It's very interesting. So I might just disappear, my face might disappear in a minute, and I'm going to start showing you some photos of mine that sort of give a feel for Jupiter and then give a feel for Saturn. And it's another useful exercise to do when you're getting to know the planets or even the signs of the zodiac, is to look for images that speak those qualities to you, because they will, for every person they are unique. So let's go there. Sorry, that images didn't happen. I was going to do like a voiceover over images, but it was too much. But it's still a great idea, and I'm going to put one image at the end which sort of exemplifies Jupiter and Saturn together for me. So see if you can figure out why. Okay, carry on with the video. Jupiter is the largest planet in our solar system, and it's actually more than twice the size of all the other planets put together inside it. It's huge, and that's what it does to anything it touches. It makes it bigger, which is why it's always been associated with money and luck and abundance, because it's all about that expansion. So remember that each planet through the signs will express itself differently, but you can imagine that expansion in whatever that sign might happen to be. Now, for some signs that is going to be slightly problematic when the Well, it's problematic for every sign in terms of its unconscious behaviour. So I have Jupiter in Virgo, and the unconscious behaviour of Virgo is very analytical, it's very critical. And so Jupiter expands that. And sometimes I listen to myself and I go, oh, God, you're so judgmental, you're so critical, and I have to go, yeah, that's the Jupiter in Virgo acting at its lowest level. But Virgo is also about healing and about the beauty of the planet. And I have that in abundance as well. And then Jupiter is in my 8th house, which is often about things, that are hidden. Oh, no, sorry, we haven't got to houses yet. As a little taster of things to come when we move into houses. So that's Jupiter. It makes everything a bit bigger. It's thought of as a beneficent planet, and a beneficent planet is one that we believe brings benefits to us and abundance. It can obviously go over the top as well. If you've got Jupiter in Taurus, you can end up eating a lot. So you have to watch the sign, the unconscious aspects of the sign that it falls in. So Jupiter is expanding, it's wanting to explore, it's wanting to push and explore and spread its boundaries. Saturn, on the other hand, goes whoop, like this. It's like our skin. It actually wants to draw in, it wants to hold, it wants to box. Now you have to think that in the olden days, before we had proper telescopes, so I'm talking like pre-18th century, they couldn't see anything beyond Saturn. You can see Saturn with the naked eye, and so Saturn was thought to be the edge of our universe, if you like, our solar system. And so it was very much associated with death and endings and loss and things. But then, they discovered Uranus and Neptune and Pluto, and now we're discovering even more beyond that, which is a whole other talk. And so Saturn has no longer got that same sense of doom with it, because we know that there is more, there is beyond Saturn. But it still has a sense of restriction about it and a sense of structure about it. Now, most people have heard about the Saturn return. If you're interested in astrology, I'm sure you've heard about your Saturn return, which happens at around 29 and a half, when Saturn comes back to the place it was in when you were born. And often that can be quite a difficult time for people, it can be quite stressful, because you're really being given, a Saturnine dose. But beyond, after that, you start to look at Saturn in a different way. So prior to that, it can feel very restrictive. Oh, it's not fair, not letting me do this or not letting me do that, or why has that always happened to me, type of thing. Whereas after that, we become mature, and we start to realize that actually it's quite useful to have some structure, and we can start to use Saturn as a way to actually plan what it is that we want. So so then Jupiter, you can see how they can work together. Jupiter says, I want to go traveling, I want to go and broaden my horizons. And Saturn goes, okay, let's see how we're going to plan that. How do you want to plan that? So they can work together really well in that sense, but equally they can feel very at odds to each other. It's like, Jupiter can be the teenager saying, I want to go out and I want to stay out late. And Saturn's the parent going, nope, you're coming in. You're going to be in for 9 o'clock. Tough. So, you get both extremes of that. So you've got the mind of Jupiter feeding into the material. It's like the expanding mind bringing that down into material manifestation. And Saturn, the sort of like wanting to hold, wanting to structure that material structure, right? Influencing the mind, influencing how we think. Oh, I can't do that. That's too hard. Or Well, if I plan that properly, I can do that. Okay, so quite a lot there, and it's been great to touch base again. I'm sorry it's been a little while, but hopefully you've been putting into practice, or at least little snippets have been going across your mind of all the work that we've done up till now. Okay, love you all. Take care. Talk to you soon.